Hi, my name's Sophia and I wanted to finally film a video about my experience with my eczema in 2019. And I know it's 2021 now, but I think it's taken me a while to kind of want to share this experience because it was rather traumatic and quite, I don't know, hard to get over. And I think it's kind of taken me this long to realize that it's not going to happen again, I hope, and I hope I can prevent it from ever happening again in the future. So I just wanted to start this video with a bit of a trigger warning to talking about topics of feeling really low and I guess depressed in a way. I never had clinical depression, or I wasn't ever diagnosed with depression or anything during this period, but I think those are sort of topics I just want to acknowledge that I'll sort of touch on, and also very graphic photos, I think, which might be a bit confronting to people who aren't really expecting to see them. So anyway, to start off this journey, I didn't really grow up with eczema. I was just a normal kid. I didn't really have eczema as a child at all. I think I had like nappy rash, but every kid has that. And yeah, so I sort of spent most of my life eczema free, and it was never something I ever thought about. It wasn't ever something that bothered me, which I guess I was really lucky with. And then it got to year 12, and that's when I sort of first experienced eczema. And I just got it on my arms, and like it wasn't really the end of the world. I kind of just covered it up with some bandages kind of to stop me from scratching as well. So it was sort of a preventative method for me. And I just used some like a topical sort of moisturizing cream, like not even steroids or anything, to sort of help with that. And I think it was just the stress of year 12 and the responsibility of, you know, doing well and studying and all of those extra things that come with finishing your school. So yeah, I sort of struggled with that in year 12, and it was a little bit shit to sort of have this ugly thing on your arm in year 12 when you're sort of wanting to go out and have fun and have balls and, you know, do all of those things. But it didn't faze me as much as like it could have. So yeah, and I thought, you know, it was temporary, it was weird. I was like, oh well, this will go away. And it did. So in my gap year, which was 2015, I didn't deal with eczema at all. Even going into my first year of uni in 2016, it wasn't even a problem. And it wasn't until 2018, I want to say, in my last year of my bachelor degree, that I sort of started to really struggle with having eczema on my underarms and my forearms and just like those sort of hot places, I guess you could say, that people get eczema. And that's sort of where it sort of started for me. And I think the stress of like third year uni with all of the assignments and all of the pressure, and there were some other external factors, like one of my friends dying, which was not ideal at all for stress levels and going through third year. But yeah, that was sort of hard as it started to get worse as the end of year progressed. But it was still manageable, I want to say. Like I think it was like on my neck and like just a few other places that were obvious, but it was very easy to cover up and deal with. And then I started to kind of look into alternative methods, I guess. I think I went down this sort of rabbit hole on the internet of like steroids being really bad for you, which I know they are, and especially if you start them young as a kid, it can be like honestly traumatic what you go through for trying to get off them. And I sort of went down this rabbit hole of looking up what could help me without having to use steroid creams, which was honestly like, it was kind of beneficial to do all that research, but I think it became my worst enemy eventually. But yeah, so I looked up sort of what I could do to help my eczema without using those creams, and it sort of came down to a few different things, like all the standard things that if you're watching this as an eczema sufferer, you would literally roll your eyes if someone told you this, but you know, like changing out to not use soap, using moisturizer every single day, like twice a day, even like not having hot showers, like wearing certain kind of like cottons and stuff that don't irritate your skin. What else? Like all literally anything under the sun that you can think of that you roll your eyes to when people tell you about it. I looked up and I made sure I was doing all of that, made sure I wasn't allergic to anything, and then I kind of went into like changing up my diet a bit. Like I've always been very healthy, which is good, but then I tried doing gluten-free, and that didn't really do much really, and I tried sort of going what's it called, like low, it was something, it was like low acidic, or I don't know what it was. It was some sort of type of, you know, cutting out a few different types of vegetables and stuff that were like high in this certain thing. I honestly can't remember it off the top of my head. It feels like ages ago, but I tried that, and then I started my master's in 2019, and that was, yeah, like I had a bit of eczema when I was starting that, which was a little bit hard because I was like meeting new people and sort of trying to be in this new environment, but I had eczema, so it was a little bit like of a struggle to want to put myself out there and stuff, but it was fine. Sorry, I'm kind of recovering from a little bit of a cold, so if that's why my voice sounds a little bit strange, then that's why. But anyway, I was still obliged to film this video today when I could have filmed it any time. But anyway, that's fine. We're in another lockdown, so I thought now is the time to seize the day and film a YouTube video. Yeah, so at the start of 2019, I studied a Master of Film, and my specialisation was directing and producing. And in our directing class, we had to do this project, which was documenting our lives for 6 weeks. Maybe it was in our, no, it was our directing class. Yeah, we had to document our lives for 6 weeks and, you know, follow as something changes in our lives. And so I documented going on like a celery juice kind of 6-week phase, I guess it was, like trying the medical medium technique of like celery juice helping eczema, because I'd seen, you know, a few people try it online and like they had results for eczema and psoriasis and all of those sorts of skin conditions. And so I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna try celery juice, because like there's nothing really that can stop me now. Like I may as well try it. Like what's the worst that can happen, honestly. So I tried that, and I've actually got like a whole video on that, so I'll pop in some clips of like me trying celery juice and sort of what unfolded and stuff. Today's actually my birthday, and I just thought I'd do a little eczema update. It is not fabulous at the moment. Really wish I could just look nice for my birthday, but maybe next year. Hello, I'm on day 34 of my celery juice, and my skin is really clearing up around my neck and my arms. As you can see, it's not as red, which is really nice. Even my my legs are improving. They're not really 100%, but they're getting better, so it's all going really well. My skin's really inflamed and sore today, and I'm just fucking over it. I just wish it would get better. I thought my skin was getting better, but it's just really inflamed. It's going so good. My skin is so nice and clear. Yay. and my skin is still staying good, which is really nice. Hello, so it's almost day 100 of me doing celery juice and it's been amazing. It's actually improved my skin so much. As you can see, it's cleared up. I do have some Easter pimples. Wonderful. That's just from eating chocolate too much. And celery is now officially only $1.80 a bunch, so I bought a lot and I'm so happy about this price change. So yeah, it's all good. So we've just finished block 1 films and my skin is pretty bad from it, so this journey is going to take quite a while, not just 6 weeks, which sucks because I'm feeling really mad about that and my skin at the moment, but just got to keep coating myself full of moisturizer, drinking my celery juice and hope that it changes soon. And it was quite a good journey. Like, I did get better and then towards the end it kind of got worse again, so it was like this small sort of like I suppose like upward feeling of like, yay, it's getting better, and then it sort of got worse again, and then yeah, so I tried that and then it didn't really work, and then as the semester kind of progressed, things got a bit more stressful at uni. There was a lot of pressure doing our masters and we had to do it all in 1 year, so it was like really it was a lot to fit in, to be honest, and it was a little bit unreasonable, I think, for what we had to do in that amount of time, and the hours were insane. Like, our contact hours were enormous, and then on top of that we had assignments and projects and filming other things and then doing extra work that wasn't graded, and like just all these little things that were, it was a lot to manage, I think. And I'm sure anyone who's done some kind of like master's or postgrad degree would kind of know that there's this sort of expectation that you sort of go all in and kind of commit yourself to it and just do it for the year or 2 years, depending on however long that is. And then so in the middle of 2019 was sort of when my eczema got bad. I can't believe it's literally been like a year, over a year, and it's hard to talk about, but anyway, I'll get through it. But so it started to get really bad and it was kind of appearing all over my body, and yeah, so it got really bad and I had it everywhere. Like, it was literally all over my body, like legs, arms, chest, like neck, face, everything. And it was starting to get worse and worse, and kind of like no matter what I did, it kept getting worse, and I felt super helpless because, you know, I thought I was doing everything I could in my power to make it better, but it just wasn't getting better. Anyway, so I forgot to mention, there were like quite a few sort of untraditional, like I would say woo-woo things that I sort of tried. So I went to acupuncture, and while that was like super relaxing and stuff, it didn't help. Like, I think I was at a stage where things were so bad that there was no sort of like looking back to getting better. And then I also tried, obviously the diet changes, the celery juice that I mentioned before, and then I tried seeing a naturopath, and she was really lovely and she really wanted to help me, but I think I was honestly past the point of any sort of natural intervention for help, and it did frustrate me a little bit that she didn't acknowledge that and just say, you know, you're near hospitalization, you need to go get proper help, like you can't fix this naturally at this point. I also tried hypnosis, which was honestly the most ridiculous thing I've ever done in my life. Like, he didn't hypnotize me, I don't think. Like, he thought he had, but I think I went in there skeptical, so it didn't work. So I think if you went in there more open-minded, maybe it would work. Anyway, so I tried all of those sort of woo-woo things and they didn't really help. And like, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but I've already been down the route of using steroid creams and it kind of just kept coming back, and it didn't really, I don't think I had a consistent routine, and I didn't really use it often to just get rid of it. I would kind of just patch use it every now and then, or I do go to the doctor and just say, you know, I have eczema, can you give me something? And it didn't really help. Like, it just kind of kept coming back, and I wanted to find sort of like a permanent solution and get to the root of the cause, which I think is anyone with eczema wants to do. Anyway, so so it got really fucked, basically. And it got to a point, I actually went on a trip with my sister to Melbourne, just as sort of like I only had 2 weeks off in the middle of uni, in the mid-year break to sort of do something. So I went to Melbourne for 10 days with my sister, and over there it kind of like progressively got worse, and my skin was sort of like, I was honestly shedding like a snake. Like, it was low-key insane, like how much my skin shed. I honestly thought I was gonna like run out of skin or something because it just kept shedding, and like every time I had a shower I would just be like wiping skin off my body from literally everywhere, and everything was like tight and red and honestly the most uncomfortable feeling in the world. And then I got home after those 10 days, and I think flying really did not help, and I got home and I shed like I couldn't even explain how much skin I shed. It was like honestly insane. And then I thought it couldn't get worse, but it did. Like, I couldn't move. I couldn't even lift my arm without it bleeding, and I stopped, like, I couldn't sleep because I was in so much pain. And I would wake up, like, my face was so bad. I'll show you photos because I don't think my explanation does much justice, but I was in so much pain, and I couldn't sleep, so I was basically going to uni on no sleep. And I can't believe I still had to rock up looking like I did. And anyway, so in the night I'd wake up and I'd be like kind of like damp from, I think, just like leaking everywhere, and my skin was just like screaming. And so I was in a lot of pain. And I'd wake up and I was like kind of like stuck to my sheets and my pillow and my clothes, and I'd have to change my shirt because I just had like my whole body was just like oozing, because it was kind of like, you know, when you get like a scratch and then it oozes. It was like that all over my entire body. And I'm so sorry I can't like properly talk. But I guess when you go through something like that, it's really hard to talk about it. Anyway. Okay, sorry, I just had to stop recording because I was getting upset, but also because it stops recording after 20 minutes. So I had to stop it because apparently I'd been talking for 20 minutes. So anyway, I hope this is in focus because, yeah, I'm not sure if the last one was, but we'll see. Anyway, during this really hard period where I was in the darkest place I've maybe ever been in my life, I really did not see, I found it hard to get up every day and to live my life because I really just hated, every time I looked in the mirror I just burst out crying. I don't think I've ever cried that much in my life. I cried every single day, pretty much all day, I would say. Like, I'd get to uni and I'd cry before going in because I hated what I looked like and I was like scared what people would think. I cried when I left uni because I'd look in my like pull down little mirror and just be like, how do I look like this? I would cry when I got out of the shower because I was in so much pain. Honestly, I was in the most pain I've ever been in my entire life. Like, moving was horrible. Getting up and down was horrible. Putting on clothes was horrible. Everything was just like, it was like maybe the most severe, if I can liken it to anything, the most severe sunburn you've ever experienced in your entire life. Like, literally being unable to move without being in severe pain. Like, it was horrific. I would never wish it upon my worst enemy. Anyway, so that's sort of what was going down at this really horrible period. And, you know, as I said, like, I wasn't sleeping, and there was just some really dark thoughts in my head that I couldn't articulate or let go of. Nothing like I don't want to say, like, you know, I was thinking of, you know, not living. Like, I still wanted to live my life, but I didn't know how at that point because I was in so much pain. And I think that was the predicament I was in, was not really understanding my thoughts at that period of time, and not being able to control them. Anyway, I was on the phone to my mum and dad all the time during that period, just fucking crying and being like, you know, I need help. This is like really hard. And it sucked. Like, I really hate asking for help, but all I needed was help, and they were so great. They were really there for me, and mum was like, you need to go to the doctor, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna book it in. Like, I have to go tomorrow or whenever the next appointment is. So I booked that in, and that was on a Thursday. And so I went to the doctor, and she's the best doctor I've been to. I went to her for quite a few years during uni and stuff because she was like the uni doctor. And yeah, so she was really great, and she looked at me and she said, this is really bad. Like, I hope you understand how serious this is. And I was like, yep, I can feel it. Like, I know how bad this is. And so she gave me, there and then, she gave me a steroid tablet, and she said, hopefully this will subside some of the pain and some of the eczema, like the inflammation. And I was like, okay. And then she called up a dermatologist at my dermatologist now, and she said this woman is like fantastic. She is a really great dermatologist, and damn, she was right. She's honestly the best human ever. So she called her up and said, I need an emergency appointment for my patient because she is in like a critical condition with eczema. And I don't mean to use critical condition lightly, because I know that that's, you know, as a medical term, that's like critical. So you get what I mean. Like, in terms of skin, I was at a level 10 out of 10 for eczema. And so I went to the doctor the next day. She got me an appointment. I think it was at 2 p.m. I remember this because it's ingrained in my memory to be like, I am getting help on Friday the 2nd of, I think it was Friday the 2nd of July at 2 p.m. or the 4th of, I can't remember. Anyway, it was just like this one date that kind of just like stuck in my memory for ages. So I went to her, and she looked at me and she was like, how are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm okay. And she's like, I don't know how you can say that because I see that you're not. And I was like, yep. And then she kind of explained what I had to do to help myself, and she knew that I was sort of not wanting to go down the steroid path, but honestly, I was so past the point of caring at that point that I was like, do what you can to make me better, because I don't care. Like, stick me in a fucking bath of steroids. Like, I literally do not care. And so she said she would put me on a 4-week regime to do wet wrapping and oral steroids, so topical steroids and oral steroids as a treatment. And it would be, for the first few days, I'd be wet wrapping 3 times a day, and wet wrapping involves wetting down tight like leggings and a skivvy, wetting them and rinsing them out, and then putting them over a body that is, you know, covered in steroid and moisturizer to try get your skin to just soak up as much moisture as it can to get it back to life. And the scary thing was, in that appointment, she said, you know, if this doesn't get better, you're going to have to go to hospital, because you could be in hospital right now for this, but I'm going to try help you. And it was in that moment where I kind of realized how fucking serious this was. And yeah, so it really hit me when she said that. And she was like, you know, you're the worst example of eczema I've ever seen, and I really want to help you. And she did. And so anyway, I had this regime of wet wrapping, which I just explained, and oral steroids. So I took a full steroid for a week, and then half steroid tablet for a week, and then a quarter, or like it just kept going down. Anyway, I can't remember the exact amount, but it like gradually, like, you wean yourself off it pretty much, because it makes you like really kind of ecstatic. I feel like people could get addicted to that feeling of feeling like joyous and happy, and yeah, it's like a bit weird. It makes you feel quite giddy and euphoric is probably the right word for it. But honestly, it was probably just like the joy of getting better, like, to be fair. So I chose to go home, because like home down south, because that was the only place that I felt comfortable to be doing this regime. My housemates weren't in a position to help me, and while they, like, you know, try to be helpful, I just don't think that they can give that kind of help, and it's not their responsibility. So I went home, and I actually put the steroid cream on my face at the start of the 2.5-hour trip, and quite literally I could see my face changing colour as I went down there, and that gave me so much joy, because I was starting to see myself getting better. And my dermatologist said, you know, you're going to feel like a new person by Monday. And I found that really hard to believe, because in that moment I was like, this is fucked, like, I'm never getting better. And then by Monday I felt like a new person. And so I came back up to Perth on Tuesday, because I was feeling much more myself and much more capable of managing it by myself without my parents like coddling me, because I think they were really like shaken up, honestly, by what had happened and like how bad it had gotten, and I feel bad for that, but not much I can do about it now. But yeah, so I came back up to Perth and I started to get better, and then she also put me on a phototherapy regime, and that's basically UV light therapy, a very specific UV light that like at this point in time they don't, like, it doesn't cause cancer or anything, it's just like a specific light, and you go stand naked in this like kind of like circle of lights, and it gradually, like, you're in there for like 10 seconds and then you gradually build up your time, and it strengthens your skin. So this is particularly helpful during winter times when you're not going outside, and then as you come into summer, your skin usually forms some kind of resilience from when you're going to the beach and, you know, outside, getting your skin in the sun a bit more, like obviously still wearing sunscreen and stuff, but it does strengthen your skin to be in the sun. So I started doing that, and it was really fabulous and helped a lot. Like it really did help strengthen my skin and give it some color and some resilience, I guess you could say. And then yeah, I started to feel better, and I actually had an event that I go to every year in August, Cinefest, and I was really wanting to like look better for that, because you meet a lot of filmmakers, a lot of peers are down there, a lot of people I wanted to interact with and be confident around, and I looked so much better and I was so stoked, and I can show you a photo of that. And I also had my end of year gala, which was actually in September, so it wasn't really the end of year, but so I had that for my my master's degree, where they showcase our films and stuff, and I wanted to look good for that, so I'll pop in a photo of what I looked like for that, because I felt so relieved that I looked like I looked alive again, and I looked happy and joyous, and I was just so over the moon. And then, yeah, so I've kind of just been on this journey of recovery since then, just managing my skin in the best way possible with moisturizer and, you know, all those sort of things that people tell you to do, which I'm not going to bother listing, because honestly, if you're watching this video, you probably know them. And if you don't, please comment down below and I'll make sure to sort of list them out for you. But yeah, it's honestly, I've just been, I think it's taken me this long to film this because I've been really concerned that it'll go back to being like that. But I think I can now say like it definitely won't, because I won't ever let it get that bad again. And I think the whole message from me of this video is to ask for help. When you're at your worst, I think it's hard to see through the fog of being at your worst, and sort of being like, I know I can get myself better, and like when you're doing all the right things, sometimes it's not enough and you need medical intervention, and that's okay. And honestly, like, if celery juice works for you, great. If, you know, acupuncture works for you, it's expensive, but great. Like, do the things that make you better, because that's what matters. And don't listen to people that say steroids are fucked, because if you reach the point that I did, you're gonna thank your lucky stars you let them give you steroids. And I know steroids aren't a long-term fix, and I never plan to use them long-term, so that's sort of my perspective on that at the moment. That might change as I get older, but you know, at this point in time, I purely use a steroid cream if there's a patch that won't go away with moisturizing and sort of those other methods. Like, if there's a small patch that I've got that I can just moisturize, it'll tend to go away, and if I look after it, it'll tend to go away, because I think my skin is much more resilient now. And I'm also less stressed. Honestly, my eczema was caused by my cortisol levels and my stress because of my uni, and life was just really stressful at that point in time. Yeah, I'm sorry that I'm like very all over the place with this video, but it's the best I can do, I think, because it's hard to talk about and it's hard to acknowledge that is what I went through. But I hope this helps someone, and even if it didn't, I hope it acknowledges how serious of a condition it is for people. I think it gets swept under the rug a lot, and that frustrates me because it's debilitating, and if you're going through it, my heart goes out to you, and just know that there's help, and you know, it does get better, and this won't be forever, and that's my message, I guess. So I hope you enjoyed, and even if you know, didn't, I'm sorry, but this is my story and it's what I went through, and I just wanted to share it to hopefully help someone. So have a lovely day, and I will maybe see you again sometime.